There's a typhoon approaching Japan even as I speak, so if you can hear some noise coming from outside, it's just the rain, so don't let it worry you too much. Now, if you're not from the UK, it might surprise you to know that it actually took Elvis 11 attempts to get his first UK #1 single, and that was All Shook Up in 1957. And it would be another 6 months before he had his second one, which is Jailhouse Rock, in early 1958. After that, he had to wait approximately another year for the third one, which was the double A-side single, One Night, and I Got Stung. The single after that was another double A-side, I Need Your Love Tonight and A Fool Such As I, and that one also got to #1. So it seemed like, at that point, by 1959, Elvis had cracked it and he was getting regular #1s. However, the single after that not only missed the #1 spot, it only got to #4, and that was actually the second worst performing Elvis RCA single up to that point, after Santa Bring My Baby Back in 1957. And no single would perform worse than that on the UK charts for Elvis until 1963, when One Broken Heart for Sale didn't make the top 10. The song I'm talking about is, of course, A Big Hunk O Love, a big favourite of mine, and here are a couple of copies that I have of that single. Here is the Japanese pressing, which I've shown before. Same two songs, but different front cover. And another copy that I have, or the other copy that I have, is a UK pressing from about 1961, I think this is. It's not the first pressing, but it still sounds really, really good. So why did that single not do very well? That's something that I want to talk about today in this video, and I think if we look at the singles in the top 10 at the same time as A Big Hunk O Love, it'll give us a few hints. Now, Elvis's single came crashing into the charts at #5 back in July 1959, but the following week it didn't move, it stuck at #5, and the third week it moved up to #4, but that was as far as it got, and after that it began its inevitable descent out of the charts. But what I want to do now is play bits of all of the other 9 singles in the charts at that time and just compare them to what was on this particular Elvis record. At number 10 was Ricky Nelson with this song.
It's late, we gotta get on home. It's late, we've been gone too long.
Now that song peaked at number 3, so it did at some point do better than A Big Hunk O Love, as did the next song, which was at number 9, which also peaked at number 3, and this one was by Paul Anka.
I'm just a lonely boy, lonely and blue. I'm all alone.
At number 8 was a song by Anthony Newley. This one only peaked at number 6, but it was in direct competition with another version of the exact same song by Lloyd Price, which also got into the top 10.
Cause you good personality, whoa, the personality, so the personality, smile, charm.
At number 7 on the week when A Big Hunk O Love peaked at number 4 was an instrumental by Russ Conway. This one peaked at number 1. At number 6 was a song by British rocker Martin Wilde. This one reached number 2.
Each night I ask the stars up above, why must I be a teenager?
At number 5 was a very well-known song by Connie Francis. This one peaked at number 3.
Lipstick on your collar, told a tale on you. Lipstick on your collar, said you were.
Well, we fired our guns and the British kept a-coming, and there wasn't as many as there was a while ago. We fired once more and they began a-running on.
At number 2 was a song by Bobby Darin. This one peaked at number 1.
Every night I hope and pray a dream lover will come my way.
And at number 1 was a song still probably today known to every single person in the UK by Cliff Richard.
Got myself a crying, talking, sleeping, walking, living doll. Got to do my best to please.
found myself singing that song in my head when I was getting ready to do this video, and it struck me, well, two things struck me about the lyrics. The first thing was, in the song, if you don't know it, Cliff Richard sings, "Take a look at her hair, it's real, and if you don't believe what I say, just feel." Now imagine if you took him up on that offer today. "Here's my girlfriend, look at her hair, no, touch it, have a feel if you like." You get put away, you get locked up if you did that now. Another thing I thought about the song was, if you heard that song today, having never heard it before in your life, and you didn't know it was from the 1950s, you'd probably think that Cliff Richard was singing about a certain kind of robot. Just think about it. You know, we have the technology now. I'm sure you've read about these things. And, you know, if you've got the money and you can't get a girlfriend, or you don't want to get a girlfriend, you can buy yourself a robot. And if you think about those lyrics, he could well be singing about one of those robots. Meanwhile, back at number 4, we had this.
But I ain't greedy, baby. All I want is all you got.
Apart from the Elvis song, the only record in that top 10 that even comes close to resembling a rocker is the Ricky Nelson song. Most of the other songs are straight pop songs, and there's also a novelty instrumental as well as a skiffle song. Personally, I think the Bobby Darin song is the next best song after the Elvis song in that particular chart. But there's nothing like that Elvis song in the chart, and I think that shows what tastes were like among the British record buying public at the time. Now, A Big Hunk O Love was a little bit unusual for Elvis in that he shouts the vocal. He didn't really shout on too many songs. Two that spring to mind are Jailhouse Rock is a bit of a shouter, and Wear My Ring Around Your Neck was another bit of a shouter. But I think the instrumentation on A Big Hunk O Love is much heavier than it is on those two songs. And it sounds to me a little bit like a prototype heavy rock song. It's got all the ingredients there. It's got the shouted vocal, it's got a kind of slightly distorted guitar, it's got massive drums. Even the piano sounds heavy on this song. When you think of shouters back in the 1950s, an obvious example would be Little Richard, and he actually did have a big hit single in the charts in the summer of 1959 also. About a month before A Big Hunk O Love, he had a top 10 hit with Good Golly Miss Molly, which kind of reminds me of A Big Hunk O Love in the sense that not only does it have a shouted vocal, but it also has a stop and start rhythm like A Big Hunk O Love. But it doesn't sound as heavy to me as A Big Hunk O Love because it doesn't have a heavy guitar. Instead, like a lot of Little Richard songs, it has a saxophone solo. And as I say, that one got to number 8. So perhaps Elvis's Big Hunk O Love getting to number 4 is a testament to his popularity, that he could have such a heavy record and have it get so high in the charts. As you know, this song was recorded in 1958 at a time when Elvis was already in the army. And he took some time out to do a recording session and recorded 5 songs, all of which went on to become big hits. But it makes me wonder just what might have happened had Elvis not been in the army at the time. Would he perhaps have gone on to do more songs like A Big Hunk O Love? Because I certainly don't think he ever rocked as hard as that ever again, if he ever had done in the first place. And a lot of people say it's a shame that Elvis didn't do, you know, an album full of blues songs, or some people say it's a shame that he didn't do a Bob Dylan album. And I think that's true in both cases, but I really would have liked to have seen an album full of songs like A Big Hunk O Love. Certainly one of my favourite songs from any Elvis period, not just the 50s, but any time. I think Elvis himself enjoyed it too. He started performing it live from 1972 until early 74, I believe. And of course it was in the Aloha from Hawaii live concert in January 1973. So what do you think about this song? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks a lot.